the CBD Business Accelerator. He has helped launch thousands of CBD brands and consults with some of the most successful brands in the CBD industry. Let's give a warm round of applause for Matt Sibert!
Everybody, let me fix this. Hope you guys can hear me okay. I sprained my ankle really bad, so I'm not going to be moving too much. So this is about creating a strong brand in the CBD industry. I consult with hundreds of brands, and 95% of CBD brands do not have a strong brand foundation, and they're doomed from the start. So this information I'm going to give you today is going to help you create that strong brand foundation if you don't, even if you already have a brand. So the problem is, like I said, these brands that I talk to, they just don't have a foundation. They're trying to sell CBD to everybody. Oh, I sell CBD to everybody. Well, it doesn't work like that. You have to have a niche down audience. And so why should they care about your business? Why should your customers care about your business? Do you know the answer to that? 9 out of 10 businesses cannot answer that question. Why should they care? And it's just too general. And why should you listen to me? I sold my first pound of cannabis in 1989. I've opened 6 dispensaries. I've launched multiple CBD brands, and I've consulted with hundreds of CBD brands, but you shouldn't listen to me. You should listen to your audience. And if you don't have a niche down, dialed in audience, you're just gonna have trouble with everything you do in your marketing. Your email marketing is gonna fall flat. Your ads are gonna fall flat because you're trying to be everything to everybody, and that's 95% of you are doing that. And so that's why they're failing. And so let's get into the who, why, and how. So who are you targeting? And sorry. So who are you targeting with your brand? Sorry, this clicker's not really. Do you really know who you're targeting? Nope, and that's why you're failing. And so let's forget the why and the how, and let's tell about a new way of working, a new solution in marketing. We call it AMP, and this was created by my partner Paul Booth back in 2018. And AMP is Audience Message Product. Most brands start with the product. You want to start with the audience first. Everybody gets it wrong. They say, oh, I'm going to launch this amazing product, but who's your audience for the product? Do they actually want it? And so working with hundreds of CBD brands over the past few years, that's the main issue, not having an audience dialed in. And so obviously we all know this brand. I'm going to give some examples here. So Nike, of course. And when they launched, they had one SKU, this track shoe, and they only focused on one audience, track athletes. And you know, some good examples of niching down in the CBD space could be golfers over 40, people who can't sleep, people who are stressed out, black women, hair care products. There's so many niches that you can find, and the niches are in the riches. And so obviously Nike shoe is just a shoe made with a waffle machine, but the power was their AMP. The audience was track athletes. That's all they marketed to in the beginning. And their message is just do it. So to inspire athletes to greatness. And then of course they just had one product when they launched, a running shoe. And now the whole world knows them. But you have to start niche down and hit them over the head with a clear message like, we help you sleep, or less stress, or something that hits your customer over the head. And Nike's all about motivation. They just happen to sell shoes. Nike really is a marketing company that happens to sell shoes, and you want to be that. You want to be a marketing firm that happens to sell CBD products. And so they built $1 billion brand off of one product. And so let's get into the next example. Obviously, I bet pretty much everybody knows that brand. Another company that builds $1 billion brand off of one product, Red Bull. And it's just caffeine, sugar, and taurine. And that's what we say about CBD. It's just an ingredient. You want to be a real brand. CBD is just an ingredient you put in the product. The brand is what matters, people, and that's what you got to nail. And so with Red Bull, the audience initially was endurance athletes, like base jumpers, people that jump out of planes. And the message is Red Bull gives you wings, so it gives you confidence to jump off a cliff or whatever. And it's just an energy drink. They started with one product, and that's what I suggest with CBD brands, especially if you're selling direct to consumer online. You want 1 to 3 SKUs to start, build your audience, and then roll out more SKUs. I see so many brands rolling out 20, 30 SKUs before they even have an audience. And then they get on their website and they're confused, they don't buy anything, and they leave the website. So make it simple for people to buy. I work with brands that are doing millions a month that have one SKU, and these are CBD brands. And so just simplify it, make it easy for people to shop. And be obsessed with what your audience wants. My partner built a brand called Monk, M-O-N-Q, from 0 to 20 million in 3 years. And I asked him, how did you do it? And he said, I was obsessed with my audience. And that's what you have to be, people. You just got to know exactly what your audience wants and dial it in. So let's keep going here. So Rolex, another great example of a strong brand. They're the most counterfeited brand in the world. And so obviously they're doing something right. And it's just a watch. Swiss engineering, it's expensive, but really it's just a watch when it all boils down to it. So what makes them succeed is their AMP. They cater to young, successful men. Like, I have entrepreneur friends that are in their 20s and 30s, and they love Rolexes. Like, if they sell their company or they hit $1 million in sales, they're gonna buy a Rolex as a crown to celebrate that achievement. And so, again, Rolex started with one SKU. And you must build an amazing customer experience if you have a luxury brand. The box, how fast it shows up in the mail, the taste and smell of the product. You have to exceed expectations of your customer every time if you have a luxury brand like Rolex. And to me, in the CBD space, there's no middle ground. You either want to have a luxury brand or a low-end brand. There's no middle ground. That doesn't exist in my opinion. So think about that when you're creating your brand. And all of this only works if you know your target audience. All of this will fall flat if you don't know how to speak to your audience. And so here's a little information. So traffic plus conversion equals sales. If you know your audience, you'll have quality traffic. If you have quality traffic, you'll get conversions that will equal sales. It's all simple, people, but for some reason, 95% of people get it wrong. And if you have too many products, unclear messaging, no target audience, your conversions are going to be low. That's a fact. And so if you're not getting conversions, you're not being super clear on what you do. Hit people over the head exactly what you do for your audience. And check out the brand My Sweet Dreams for an example. All they care about is sleep, and they have one SKU. This kid is like 20 years old that launched the brand. He's crushing it. So there's no excuses, people. And there's other brands out there too that I'll go into later. But remember, product is the last thing you dial in after your audience and message. CBD is just an ingredient, like I said earlier. It's all about your brand. So you want to give back to a cause. You want to have subscription and just really make that brand stand for something that people want to get behind. You want to create a movement. And so if you have CBD in your brand name, you're going to be stuck selling CBD. So I suggest not putting CBD in your brand name and just using a more general sounding name, because then you could get into different products. Like one of our clients is Jupiter. They only focus on people that are stressed. So when I met them, I said, what kind of CBD brand are you? And he was like, we're not, we're a stress company. We just happen to sell CBD. And so you want to be able to start there, and then they can sell pillows or meditation or other products because they're in that niche. And so, sorry. If you struggle with conversions, you gotta change your message. And so now we'll get a little bit more into branding and how to future-proof your CBD brand. Sorry, this thing's acting up. So we're going to go into why you need to understand branding before you create your company, bird eye view of CBD branding, and your goals for this section. So if you understand branding, your brand is going to stand out in a crowded market. There's over 5,000 CBD brands in the US alone. So you really have to get a grasp of branding. And if you have a strong brand, you're going to resonate with your target audience, you're going to have a longer lifetime value. So they're not going to go anywhere else. One of our clients is Equilibria. When you purchase a product from Equilibria, you sign up with a dosage specialist, and they walk you through the products and how you should be taking them, and they educate you on the products. Their customers are never going to go anywhere else. They get that red velvet rope treatment, and so that's something you want to do to create that high lifetime value. And this makes your brand more valuable if you're looking to sell it down the line. Like, you could have all the sales in the world, but if you don't have a strong brand foundation, it's not going to be valuable to a company. Like, I know a lot of shitty brands that make sales because they have a lot of money, but nobody's going to buy them. It's just a flash in the pan, quick money. And strong brands build trust in the marketplace, of course. And you can charge for more products if you have or you can charge more for your products if you have a strong brand. So here's an example of a brand that me and my partner Paul Booth created called Chill Mud. And you can see there's different opportunities. Like, I got approached by NASCAR to put a logo on a car. It was $150,000, so I said no, but you know, you can get opportunities like that if you create a strong brand and reach out to people. Oh, sorry, that wasn't supposed to be in there, people. This is fucking around. Sorry about that. And so, Nanocraft is another great example of a strong brand. They are targeted to athletes. They have custom packaging, excellent looking website if you go to Nanocraft's website. And that's a great example of a brand to take a look at that's doing a lot of things right in the CBD industry. They're in San Diego, where I'm from. They give back to children in a lot of different ways with different causes. So they're giving back in a lot of ways too. So great company. And here's probably my favorite brand in the CBD industry, Fields. They really nailed everything, like, in their marketing. If you go to Fields' website, they're talking to the customer and they're addressing the customer's concerns. They're not talking about how great Fields is. 95% of the CBD brands, I go on their homepage and they're talking about where's CO2 extracted, where pharmacists formulated, but the customer doesn't care about any of that. They want to know, how is this going to help me? And Fields does an excellent job at that. And Fields was actually the first brand in the CBD space that I know of that created custom bottles, and you can see their custom tinctures. They really stood out because of that. So you gotta put a lot of money into packaging, people. Like, custom packaging is something that can really set you apart. So make sure you budget for that, and don't just do the same old packaging that everybody else has. That was why, like, everybody else had 30 milliliter dropper bottles. Fields came out with that unique bottle and they blew up, and they're doing millions of sales now. So here's a bird's eye view of CBD branding. So the first thing you want to do is define your archetype, and you can go to a website I'll give later on that. Your archetype, you can take a quiz to find out what that is, and then you research brands that fit that archetype. Like, let's say you're an outlaw archetype, then you want to look at brands like Harley Davidson as an outlaw brand and just model different ideas off of that. And then once you get your archetype down, you want to go into your brand story. Like, who are you selling to? What makes your brand different? And how do you give back? And then once you get that down, then go into the website and logo design. So many people get it backwards, and definitely want to hire a pro for this and make sure it's stripped down and minimal. Less is more with a website for sure. And then packaging, like I said, it's more important than the product. I get into arguments with people about that, but if you're a new brand, if you don't have cool packaging, people aren't going to buy it a lot of the times. And so, of course, you have to have a great product too. But an eco-friendly packaging is the future. There's only 1 or 2 CBD brands that I know of that use eco-friendly packaging right now, but I think that's the wave of the future, especially if you have, like, let's say you're targeting vegans with your CBD brand, you better have eco-friendly packaging. It would just put it over the top. And that's a big differentiator. And then the customer experience is #1. Like, let's say you're a jester brand, and you take an archetype test, you turn out to be a jester brand, then you want it to be funny and engaging when you work with your customers, and over-deliver and treat everybody like family. That's why I had the #1 dispensary in San Diego. We treated every customer like family that came in there, and so many dispensaries, they treat you like they're doing you a favor or something. So it's just important to be real with people. And so here's some things we're going to go over: how to find your archetype, define your target audience, set your brand apart, and we'll show you some websites and some other things to help you dial it in. So here are some goals that you should be doing. Find your archetype, define that target audience, do a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Research your competitors and research companies that have the same archetype as you. And figure out how your company is going to give back in a meaningful way, and get your logos and icons designed at that point, and then design your website, and then find the right use of packaging and materials, and your customer experience plan will come after all that. How do you want the journey to be from the moment they hit that website to the moment they get that box in the mail? You want it to be an amazing experience, not just stuffing the product in some crappy UPS mailer. So defining your archetype. What are archetypes? Archetypes represent a pattern of ideas and a way of thinking that is consistent across time, generations, and cultures. So like I said earlier, Harley Davidson is a maverick outlaw brand, and Squatty Potty is a jester brand, like with the unicorn poop commercials. And if implemented consistently, archetypes can help your brand stand out. And brands that utilize archetypes outperform brands that don't every time, I guarantee it. So here's examples, like you see in the Harley Davidson ad, they're an outlaw archetype. Even the font in the ad looks outlaw. And then of course unicorn with Squatty Potty. And so here we go. So here's a free quiz you can take to find out your archetype. Go to kputnam.com. And then, once you discover your archetype, that becomes your brand's personality. Everything you say, everything you do should be that archetype. And sometimes you'll take the test and it'll tell you that you're 2 archetypes, and you can meld those 2 together. So how do you implement your archetype? Just be consistent. Everything you say and do needs to be in that brand personality. And it makes your marketing way easier when you're able to find that 1 or 2 archetypes, and then that's your personality for the brand. And then you utilize it everywhere, your marketing, your videos, everything you do. So what can I do to strengthen my brand archetype? You can connect with like-minded companies for special release products, like companies that don't compete with your CBD products. You can work with influencers that fit your archetype. So if you're a jester brand, you can find comedians, comedian podcasts, things like that. Like one of the brands I work with, they just did 40,000 in sales in their 2nd month from sponsoring podcasts. So it's a great way to go too. So the CBD brand story, you have to niche your audience down, like I've been saying. Who will you sell to? And what makes your CBD different from all the brands out there? There's over 5,000 CBD brands, people. What's gonna make yours stand out? And like one of the brands I'm helping create right now, he's a mountain biker. He's 62 years old. He rides 200 miles in one day on his mountain bike. So we're creating a CBD brand with a pre-ride and a post-ride supplement for mountain bikers only. That's what I'm talking about, just niching it down. And when everybody zigs, you zag. So like if everybody's doing one thing, try to find something unique that not everybody is doing. And like I've been saying, giving back is important. So finding a cause that resonates with your audience. And hire a pro copywriter to help you craft your message. Don't try to do the messaging on your site by yourself, because there's a science to that. So spend the money on a copywriter. And so web logo and design, make sure your logo reflects your archetype, and hire a pro for this too. And you can reach out to me. Also people, I have a group on Facebook, CBD Business Success. It's a free group, so make sure to join that. And there's over 13,000 members in there. We all help each other out. It's no competition. We're all about creating and building together. And so like I was saying, with website design, minimal is best for conversions, less is more. And here's 3 examples of really good websites in the CBD industry. Like I was saying, Feels nailed it. Everything they did was impeccable. Nanocraft and Get Maku are 2 other examples. So make sure to check those out. And now packaging. Interesting packaging is more important than the product, like I said, especially for new brands. There's a brand called House, H-A-U-S. They sell aperitifs. And I read an interview with the CEO, and he said they got thousands of influencers for free buying their products and promoting it because their bottle looks so cool. So these influencers just want to look cool. So if you have a cool looking bottle, they're going to get on board and promote your brand more likely than if you don't have a compelling brand. Oops. This thing is stuck. So here's 2 examples of brands that I have worked with and have incredible packaging. St. Jane Beauty, they were able to get into Nordstrom's and Saks Fifth Avenue, and then Dosist is one of the major CBD and cannabis brands in California. So as you can see, like immediately they just stand out. So you want your packaging to be at that level. All right, customer experience. So that must match your brand archetype. So if you're an outlaw, be tough and cool with your customers. And you have to wow your customers with faster shipping, free shipping too. Everybody's used to Amazon nowadays. Don't charge for shipping. Charge more for your product. And treat your customers like family, and you'll build a strong brand over time. And also you might want to use a phone team for partial orders. The biggest brands I work with have phone teams. So if somebody goes and partially orders, they'll call them up and get them to finish the order. So that's another way of just getting more people on board. And so that's basically the foundation of creating a strong CBD brand. And like I said, people, check out CBD Business Success. That's our Facebook group. We run Facebook ads for most of the biggest brands in the CBD industry, and we also have group coaching programs. So you can hit me up through Facebook anytime, and make sure to join the group. And then 2 of my friends and clients have booths today. So check out Kadara and Katrina Tompkins' booth. It's number 108. It's down there. It's an amazing brand that I help. And then also New Age Oils. They're at booth A2 over there. They do bulk Delta 8 and bulk CBD and white label products, and they're amazing people. So I'm going to be over that way by their booth A2. So if you want to talk about launching a brand with New Age Oil and me, hit me up. Happy to help. And make sure to join CBD Business Success on Facebook people. And thanks for listening to me today. Appreciate it.